Patrick Crew will be speaking on the topic Riding on a Bell, Act 1. Life is like a box of chocolates and you will never know what you are going to get. Forrest Gump. Try and challenge may come at a time when you are the least prepared. How will we face them? Fear of the unknown will prepare us, but any worthy objective always has a way of generating fear. So sit back and enjoy the ride on the Bell Act 1. Let us welcome Patrick Crew on the stage.
Thank you, TME. And it's interesting to know that all of us have something that we do fear in our lives. And this evening, I'd like to touch on the topic of this thing called the Bell X1. Now, not many of us live in the generation of the 50s. So let me tell you this story. On October 1947, Chuck Yeager, an American pilot, for the first time in history, he rided on this plane developed by Bell Laboratories, not our dear Toastmasters ancestor, but in this company, they want to break the sound barrier. And never before in the human history, they were able to achieve that until that fine day. Their goal was not even to try to cross the sound barrier, but just to try to reach as close as possible. They call it the 0.9 Mach. Basically, if you can travel in Mach 1 speed, that means you are riding as fast as the speed of sound. Now, how many of you know how fast can the sound and speed travel? Does anybody know? Just to give you an illustration, if you want to go from KL to Ipoh, if you're riding on the North-South Highway, normally it will take us about, say, 2 hours, 120 minutes. If you ride on the speed of sound, you can get to Ipoh in 12 minutes. And that is exactly how fast is the speed of sound. And so Chuck, on that day, his goal was trying to reach close to it. And so when they started the journey, the plane took off and he had to climb at higher altitude, and slowly, as he grew higher and higher, his heartbeat's getting to pump quicker and quicker. And then he slowly had to dip his plane at an angle so that the plane can make use of the force of gravity and then increase the speed of the plane. And so as the plane keep increasing the speed, all the instruments, the measuring speeds and all the gears and everything, they all started shaking. And it's heavier and it's making more and more violent sound. And Chuck was telling to himself, okay, I just have to reach 0.9 and then I'll back off. As the instruments is getting heavier, and then there was a lot of fear because all the scientists believe that there will be unknown forces that will tear the plane apart, because just no man or any machines can travel that fast. But you see, and Yeager thought to himself, no, we have tried it so many times, I've got to give it a try, we've got to break this. And lo and behold, suddenly with all the noise, it was silent. Suddenly everything went, the instruments stopped vibrating, and for the first time, he traveled at the speed of sound. And for 20 seconds, Chuck Yeager became the first man to do that. Think about that. Any worthy objective in our life has a way of generating fear. Ladies and gentlemen, what is that worthwhile goal that you want to achieve? All of us has our own Bell X1. Be it could be the first time when you graduated from college and you're going for your first job interview and you're wondering, man, I want to achieve great, but how will I be? There will be fear, there will be anxiety. How will you do? whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, or whether it is something, a worthwhile goal. It could be a sales target you've never done in your life. And your boss instant give you that goal. You want to do it, but there was fear. But you see, as for me, I have my own fair share of Bell X1. You know, not about bungee jumping or whitewater rafting or parachuting, but it was on a fine day in 1997. My wife and I, we got married at the beginning of the year, February, and you know, we were happily enjoying our marriage, our new relationship together. But 3 months later, you know, my wife, she was complaining that somehow, you know, she's putting on a little bit of weight. And as the supportive husband, honey, let's go jogging. Let's go swimming. But somehow, a couple of weeks later, nothing seems to help. On top of that, her pants is getting tighter. You know, and we thought, okay, there must be something wrong with her health. So we have to go and see a doctor. So we bring her to the clinic, and then she went inside the examining room. I was sitting outside. For 45 minutes, I was like wondering, what's going on? There was no sound coming from inside. Suddenly, the nurse came out. Mr. Cole, you have to come in, you have to come in. I was like, what? Something is wrong? I quickly dashed inside and expecting to see something horrible, but my wife had a grin on her face. And she said, honey, I'm pregnant! I was like, wow. There was a feeling of excitement and joy, and there's also a feeling of, man, I'm going to be a father. I'm only 27 years old. Am I prepared? Are we prepared? We just only got married like 3 months ago. Man, this is something that I've never done before. I mean, how am I going to be a good father? What examples, you know, my brother, none of my brothers were married. I have no examples of people that I could look to. The only thing I could talk of is, how's my dad being a good father? Now, I had a relationship issues with my dad, and so that wasn't too good either. But you see, all that fear just came into me, and we just decided that my wife and I, we made a pledge to one another. We decided that, yes, we do not know everything. We may not know how to be a good parent or how to you know, bring up this child. But both of us have great values. We have some great friends in our church who can give us guidance. But not only that, we decided for ourselves that, hey, no matter what, I want to be a great dad. I want to give my best to my son. I want to give him the best that he can afford, the best education that I can afford to give him, the best family environment, but all these things I've never done before. And so I thought, but we know that as long as we stay humble, as long as we stay open for people around us, as long as we stay in a focus in our mind, that we can do it. You know, that was in 1997. And along the way, until 2011 here, it's been 14 years. There has been moments where I have to spank my child, I have to scold him, I have to, you know, love him, and then spank him again, and scold him, and love him. And sometimes I wonder, man, parenting is a full-time job. It's a difficult job. But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, any worthwhile goals that we want to achieve has always a way of generating fear. But you see, what kept me going? I decided that I'm going to stay on course. That nothing will stop me from being a good father to my son, to give him the best. And maybe you can ask yourself, what is the Bell X1 in your life? How will you stay focused and stay on course? Will you be overcome by the fear? Will you be conquered? Or will you be the conqueror and overcome and face our challenge and our fears? So ladies and gentlemen, let us face our Bell X1 and ride to victory. Thank you so much.
Project number 10, the final speech of the Competent Communicator Manual, Inspire Your Audience. How did Patrick Koo did in inspiring us? Let's hear from our distinguished Toastmaster, G. Sivalingam.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My role this evening is to help Toastmaster Patrick Koo enhance his speaking skills by pointing out areas where he did well and where he can still further enhance it. Speech number 10 calls for him to inspire us as the audience. And the normal way to inspire is to share experiences so that the audience can feel that they can do it too. He chose the approach of taking two anecdotes, one from his personal life and one from a historical event where Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier for the first time with the Bell X1. Now, his strengths are, he has good stage presence, confidence, and poise. He delivered the drama smoothly all the way through right up to the end. He had vocal variety. For example, he said, heavier and heavier. You could still sense the tension of it. It was very nicely done. Both the stories were delivered very well. Now, as he was delivering all this, very nice, but I was feeling one thing I could have been improved is, I felt the choice of stories was reversed. He started out the story of Chuck Yeager, which is a very nice dramatic story, but I felt, what does it have to do with me? I'm not Chuck Yeager. I don't know his chance to fly. And the second story was better, how he became a parent. I'm not a parent yet. So it's a story for me, and for those who are parents, it's a personal story. Now, but one thing about both the stories is the linear flow. He told us a story, but he did not interpret it as far as it's concerned. What do I mean by interpretation? He needs to tell us how he overcame a specific area so we can grab onto it. He said, I had a very tough time. He did it for 16 years or whatever it is. But how did he do it? How can I emulate him? That I felt was a little bit missing. I didn't feel inspired by that. The story is nice, but I cannot internalize it because he didn't maybe could have given specific example. When my child was crying and I was so angry and I slept, he didn't share his journey. That was lacking. It's nice, happy, story A, B, C, happily ever after. But for inspiring, to make us feel that we can do the same thing, to make us feel that there's hope for us as well, he needs to bring stories. So two major suggestions here. Perhaps you could drop out the X1 story. That's nice, but that's far, far away and I can't relate to it. Personally, I cannot relate to it. Perhaps some of you can. Take your parenthood story, which is nice. Take specific incidents where you overcame them. I'm sure after all these years there could have been incidents where you regretted, where there's pain. Share those with us. That can feel your emotions. I couldn't feel you as a person, as a father. You told us it's a happy talk, but where's the pain? How did you overcome it as a parent, as a child, as a husband? That would have helped us feel inspired. That would have helped me personally to be lifted to a higher level. Nevertheless, it's a job well done. I congratulate you, competent Toastmaster, or shall I say, competent communicator, Patrick Koo.